In the before times, before this channel even, I bought the Wrath expansion to the Others game because I thought the Avatar will make a good Chaos spawn, or even a Demon Prince, but I already have one, so let's go with Chaos spawn. But as cool as this mini is, it's sat sad and neglected for like 2 years. Then earlier this year, I picked up the Plague Faction booster from the Dead Zone game, specifically for the Plague Aberration mini, which you can buy separately, but the box set's a way better deal. Plus these zombies would probably make very easy conversions into poxwalkers, don't you think? All in due time. This mini caught my eye because it has the same flesh and bone aesthetic as the Wrath Avatar. Around that same time, I found this undead minotaur, I think is what it is, on eBay. I have no idea what it's from. I tried to find it searching a ton of different terms so I could buy it legit and not from a seller in China. I thought maybe it might be Zombicide, but I came up with nothing. So, if you happen to know where this is from, please let me know in the comments below. But now I have 3 models from 3 completely different places that all have a similar look that I can make a unit of Chaos spawn out of, with a few modifications of course, because that's what I do for no reason. Hold on, these 2 are even posed like pretty much the exact same way. Now I have to repose that 3rd one so that they all match, don't I? Yep! But first, I'll give the Wrath Avatar a tail from the Demon Prince kit. Yeah, that's gonna need a little bit of patching up later. How about a bottom jaw? This one is from the head of a bloodthirster. It was actually 3 pieces, which was an absolute treat to glue to my fingers. I mean, together. To glue together. I have to carve out a sizable chunk of the shoulder to get the jaw to line up with the top of the head. And now he has a wicked underbite. No worries, I'll just carefully remove his face and extend it out with some pieces of scrap plastic card. Now the sides of the head are going to be pretty bare looking. Bare as in nothing on them, not the ursine mammal. So I think it'll grow some horns. I've already used this helmet for an obliterator, so that's where I will get them from. Much better. Switching over to the Minotaur model of unknown origin. I removed the entire left arm and the right arm at the elbow so I can repose them, and also I can get at this gore from his abdomen. I don't really like it and it doesn't fit with the other 2 spawns, so I'll just cut that away and sculpt over it later. While I'm at it, might as well separate the shoulder from the rest of the left arm and glue the shoulder back on. This will help me with positioning these massive bloodthirster horns because 2 horns was simply not enough. It took a great deal of carving out of the head and neck, but I made sure the skulls on the horns were still visible, which is cool. Skulls are cool. But I'm not done! I also use this Demon Prince head on an obliterator, so I will use these horns as well. 6 horns balances out the head a bit better, I think.
What is it, a horn dog?
I carved a notch in the left arm to have it not cover the chest and abdomen so much. It'll make painting easier and the model will also take up more room on the base. I take the same notching approach to the right arm and position it upward like so. And it still fits on the base, which is good. More on that later. The Plague Aberration model needed a lot of work to repose. I thought the head was too small for the body, but maybe the top half of a Bloodthirster head might look alright. Yeah, I think that blends in quite nicely. Don't freak out. While trying to pin the 2 halves of the head together, I might have maybe slightly kinda drilled through the right eye. Don't freak out. The pinning was probably unnecessary, but I did it, and I'll fix it, I promise. I glued the right arm a little bit lower than intended, down by the knee, which left a gap in the armpit area I'll have to sculpt over later. Just like with the Minotaur, I ran into a similar issue with the posing of the arms. I didn't like how closed off the pose was. It's hunched over and very gorilla-like. Maybe it could be punching or looking for a fist bump, and that would be better? Yeah, let's go with that. I separate the shoulder from the rest of the arm again. Then the shoulder is glued back into place. With a straightened paper clip, I'll pin the arm pointed outward. Then I went about filling gaps and sculpting in detail with epoxy sculpt. My big hands get in the way of showing what I'm actually doing, so I will skip to the results of the first pass. I just continued the shape of the muscles that were already there and connected them between the separate pieces. That eye still needs to be fixed. The back of the head and neck are going to need a lot more work as well. I patched up the left arm on the Minotaur and gave the right arm an elbow that I wasn't really satisfied with. And I sculpted some abs to replace the gore I cut away. You're ripped now, Minotaur. The Wrath avatar needed the parts of the head blended together, and I also fixed up the back and tail. I did another pass with green stuff on everybody. Hopefully that elbow looks better now, maybe. I fleshed out Wrath's face a bit more. As for the missing eye, I misplaced my pre-made green stuff eyes, and these 1mm ball bearings were too large. So how about a green stuff tendril or tongue? Sure. I added more connective tissue to the arms and made the neck a lot more muscular. I don't think my basing is all that spectacular, but here's a rundown of my process. I place the mini on the base, this one's 50mm, and figure out how I want it to set. Then I cut a piece of cork to prop the mini up. I make sure to shave off all the perfect right angles to make it look a bit more natural. I etched into this piece of cork to look like it was made from several broken rocks. And I make sure all points of contact between the mini and the base are covered in cork first, and then glue additional pieces as needed. There's no real science to it. If it looks good, it gets glued in place. Somewhere in here, I pinned the mini in place with paperclip and super glue. Then I lay down some more super glue onto the bare parts of the base and sprinkle some construction sand over it. That's really all there is to it. I wanted the Minotaur guy to be hanging onto a rock, so I let that initial piece of cork influence how I place the rest of the cork on the base. And the Wrath Mini's base was probably the simplest of the three, so I added a few skulls to each because. The Plague Aberration Mini is alright by itself, but I did notice that the other two have tails, but it doesn't. So I made one out of Sculpey and green stuff and glued it in. I did need to do some green stuff work to blend the two pieces together, but it was pretty simple, just follow the lines of the model. And it looks like it was there the whole time. After that, I got the 3 Chaos Spawn all primed up and ready for paint. No special primer, just rattle can I got from Walmart. I painted them all with the same color palette to further tie them all together. Various shades of red for the flesh, with a thick dark red wash. And I used the same beige for all the horns and teeth and bone spikes and what have you, with a mix of black and brown washes. So what do you think? Did I pull it off? Taking 3 completely different models and making them all look like one cohesive unit of Chaos Spawn? Let me know. I had a lot of fun making these, but it took a ton of time, and on top of that, all the time it took editing this, I am tired of looking at them. So it's time to move on. Hopefully I'll do something a little bit less time consuming for my next video. Probably not though. I commend you, dear viewer, for making it to the end of this video, and I implore you to maybe subscribe to the channel. You probably won't regret it. And if you enjoyed this video, at least a little bit, do me a favor and butterfly suplex the like button. It really does help me out. Thanks for watching, and I will see you later. Gator?